Well, good afternoon. This is Dan Belt from Future of Hampton Roads, and it is Wednesday, April 16th on a very cool and sunny day here in Norfolk, Virginia. I am with Thanos Polizos, owner and CEO of ODU Rent. Thanos, good afternoon. Thank you very much for your time today. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Dan.
Absolutely.
Pleasure to be here.
Well, that's wonderful. And business is booming. Thanos is going to tell us about that in a minute, but why don't we get started and just give us a bit about your personal background.
Well, Dan, I started off as a mechanical engineer studying here at Old Dominion University, and worked for several companies in the area, as well as Ingersoll Rand and Flowserve. And then I went back to graduate school here in engineering management, where I took several business courses out of the MBA program. And I caught the entrepreneurial bug, and that's how I shifted from engineering to real estate.
Wow, what was your specialty in the mechanical engineering? And any particular type of equipment or just general?
I did specialize in manufacturing, quality control, plant management, and that sort of led a little bit to real estate.
Wow, that's amazing. I was in that field for a while too. I worked for Honeywell, and so a lot of business automation, mechanical controls, and stuff back in the day.
So we're both recovering.
Oh yeah, we are recovering. So it's a work in progress, right?
Oh yeah.
So and you graduated ODU in what year?
91 undergrad.
91. That's great. That's right. So keep going. So you made this transition.
I did. So graduate school here was great. It taught me that there's a whole other world outside of engineering and design. And I co-founded 4 other startups in technology, various types of technology with other partners. And one of them is actually Energy Recovery, which is a publicly traded company on the NASDAQ. So I had garage startups that didn't go too far, all the way to publicly traded companies. And
it's the mark of a good entrepreneur.
So I really learned, what to do and what not to do with all these different. So once I got into real estate, which was an accident, one of my partners had bought some real estate and had some books on it, and I decided to take his advice and buy some small properties to offset my taxes. And then overnight I saw an opportunity. So after I bought a few properties and saw the success I could have, and without partners, the bank was your silent partner.
Right.
I started investing in that and never looked back.
And so that was in what year?
This was roughly 98, 99, when I was moonlighting in real estate while I was still working on all those other companies.
So you went through some really good times, and then 2008 hit, economic downturn, and did that, obviously it could have impacted you, slowed you down, whatever, but you're still here and you're still going strong. So tell us about that.
Well, the economic downturn did impact me with respect to getting loans from banks. The business wasn't affected with the demand of our customers. Fortunately, we were here in ODU's backyard where the demand of students was growing, and it was, our ability to manage properly that kept us full. But it was really the banks that slowed us down because we wanted to acquire more properties, and we did get loans. It just took a lot longer and slowed our growth that way. But overall, that wasn't really the biggest challenge. The neighborhoods around ODU, for the most part, were old and dilapidated, and it took someone who didn't mind rolling up their sleeves and getting in here and improving the areas, literally house by house, block by block.
Wow.
And we had to deal with quite a bit of crime several years ago. But we're proud now to have several hundred students under management, and in the last 12 months we had 0 crime rate.
That's outstanding.
And that's because we've added a lot of preventative crime measures and features on our properties.
So lighting, security systems.
Exactly, everything. Automatic
open
door
areas,
locks, like the dorms, the dusk to dawn lighting. Alarm systems on low properties. We even have a third-party security company that does patrol the neighborhoods on weekends.
That's outstanding. I'm sure there's a lot of parents who are very thankful for that too.
They are. When they go on our website and they see there's a whole section on security in detail, they get excited that their students chose us because we make it.
That's great. And ODU too has got to be very grateful for the investment that you put in, put into the student safety?
I hope they are. We have worked with ODU on a crime task force as well as the City of Norfolk, and we're very involved in a lot of the community resource officers and the ODU PD do know us well and what we're doing, and all we can hope is we're complementing their efforts.
Yeah, it certainly seems like that. So you had mentioned that ODU was you said second fastest growing university in the state, based on how you look at it?
In the 2000s, I think they were probably first or second fastest growing university in the state. We know VCU and George Mason have been growing quite a bit, especially since their basketball teams went pretty far.
Yeah.
But ODU, when we started this business, I think they had about 17,000 students, and now they just hit 25,000. And they're on track to hit about 26 or 27,000 over the next few years.
Huge.
Which puts them right up there with all the other big public schools.
Fantastic. Right here in Hampton Roads, so you can't go wrong with that. So we talk about your launching of your business, and so when did you found ODU Rent specifically? What year was that?
It was around 2001, after dabbling in it for a couple years and exiting my other startups and realizing what a huge untapped potential was here to bring some quality management and to run it like a true business. And so 2001, I dove into it full time, created a management company, created the brand, and I realized that I had to hire and train my own unique staff because there wasn't realty or property management firms out there that understood the seasonality of this business. It's run more like a hotel than a typical apartment complex.
Well, that's interesting, and of course hotels look at occupancy and things of that nature, and you have to do the same thing, right?
And they're management intensive.
Absolutely. So tell us about ODU Rent, and without divulging any sensitive information, but the number of buildings, the number of rooms, the number of students. I think you mentioned the number of students was
we're going to hit about 700 students in the next few months. We have probably 75 properties, and they vary from houses to duplexes all the way to large apartment complexes. We even have Collie Self-Storage, which is a 300-unit storage facility.
Right next door.
So it's another rental property that we can easily manage, and it's another feature we can give to our tenants as a discount.
So the way your business works, you own and operate then?
Correct.
Everything that's in your
We're not
inventory.
brokers or realtors.
Right.
It's owner managed.
That's outstanding, and you've got to have some good banking and finance partners to make that happen too.
Absolutely. It's really good to build those relationships with banks. The last 10 years with the finance world changing on us, it's been harder than ever. So continuing on that theme, what other challenges? What were some of the biggest obstacles that you had? Financing, of course, is always there. The economic downturn, but what else can you tell our listeners in terms of overcoming some of your obstacles? Well, I think the 4 keys of success to our business has been to find the quality property. So we had to spend a decade negotiating terms with owners, and we had to go back to them year after year, knowing that their situation would eventually change, and show them that we could create a win-win deal. If they had plenty of equity in their property, maybe they wanted to buy up elsewhere and continue their growth. And we always went to sellers or existing owners, showing them that we don't want to do a deal here unless it's a win-win. And that attitude and that negotiating technique really helped us acquire properties consistently over a decade. Other challenges were finding the right personnel. Most realtors are not trained in this management-intensive environment, so we just went after smart individuals and trained them from scratch.
Wow! So self-developed the training. You basically. You learned from the experience that you just obtained in the business and converted that to training?
For me, it was continuous improvement. From day one, as I grew, the challenges grew. And each year we had to optimize. Each year we had to find ways to do things more efficiently. And we call it continuous improvement. And it was learning as you go.
The best teacher sometimes. So how many people in your organization to support the 75 properties?
We fluctuate throughout the year. We're somewhere between 15 and 20 now.
That's great. That's great.
And
That's
we're hiring.
great. Are you? Well, let's see. He's looking at me, folks. I don't know. I'm the old retired guy. I think I can do more harm than good. So, so who helped you other than the bank? And when you go to like a support network, friends, family, and I don't mean financial help. I mean intellectual help, emotional support. Tell us how you.
Well, initially it started out with some close friends of mine who were also professionals in this field. For example, Greg Montero, who's an attorney with Inman & Strickler, as well as Matt Reese, who is the owner of Reliant Title, and several realtors. They all were part of my support team. A lot of these deals could not get to the closing table unless I had the feedback and support and knowledge of these guys. Eventually, 3 or 4 years ago, I joined Entrepreneur Organization, EO, which gave me even more support with respect to best business practices and just confidence to grow to a level that I never thought I would get to. I thought we capped off a few years back and that there wasn't much opportunity to grow, and I was so wrong, and it was because of EO.
That's great. Yeah, just a brief commercial, folks, about EO. I'm not a member. Thanos is incoming chair, if I understand that correctly. EO, Entrepreneurs Organization, is a global or international entity, and there's the Southeast chapter right here in is it located in Norfolk?
It's actually Southeast Virginia. It includes everything from Williamsburg to the North Carolina border.
And so it's 25 years old, $2 billion in regional revenue.
Between 53 members.
53 members.
And about 4,000 employees.
That's huge, folks. I mean, when you talk about economic development in the region and the entrepreneur network that's necessary, if you want to learn how it's done correctly, talk to the people from EO. Thanos is a member, and I have several other friends who are members, and that we could learn a lot from them. So thank you for participating in that. How about risks? Let's talk about some risks. Obviously, entrepreneurs are risk takers.
Well, I'd like to define as controlled risk. Everybody says we're risk takers, but when we do our homework and we've done all the due diligence, we don't think of it as risk. Most of the entrepreneurs I know are actually very conservative. You know, they don't grow into a sector or division unless they've really thought things through. So what I think is risky is some of the companies I used to work for, and wondering if that division was going to be able to grow and sustain jobs like mine. Yeah, interesting. It's one of your colleagues at EO, I think we were in a panel. I was in the audience, of course, but asked a question about giving back to the community. He says, I don't look at it as giving back. I didn't take anything. but he's still quite active in the community. So. But I also like to plan for risk. I thought every year we look at what are the biggest things that could affect our business. You know, if a hurricane came here like it did in New Orleans, what could it do to the enrollment of the school for a year, and how would that affect our business? And what insurance should we take out, and what property should we look at for flood insurance that don't really require it? So each year we look at what are the top 3 risks, and we plan a little for it. So we like to be proactive. And then it limits any risk. So if something happens, we've already thought about it.
You thought about it. So on that theme, one of the biggest risks that our area is facing over the next couple decades, and right here in Norfolk, is sea level rise. And there's both sea level rise and land sinking conditions, and of course Norfolk's in the crosshairs. I think it's number 2 to New Orleans.
Yes.
And so I don't know what the floodplains look like in this area, but maybe you can tell us more. Is that something that you're participating in? Because ODU is extremely active, as you can imagine.
I am aware of the floodplain here. Fortunately, most of our properties are above the 9-foot flood. Only very few of them need flood insurance. But I know that ODU is concerned, and so are some of the civic leagues around here, including Highland Park Civic League and Colonial Place and Lambert's Point. I believe ODU is looking into some kind of retaining walls up near the Elizabeth and Lafayette.
Yep.
It's going to take some time. I think it's necessary because ODU could be another economic engine, a fourth pillar to this area, and they need to look 100 years out and plan for the long haul. And most areas in Norfolk need to do that kind of audit on themselves.
Yeah. You just made me think of something else too, because this region is known for three primary economic pillars. Military, of course, is one. The port is one, and tourism is one. And we're thankful to have them all. But this region needs to diversify. Several of us organizations and individuals have been talking about it for a while, and we think that entrepreneurism is an opportunity to become a pillar. Certainly, small business development, etc. And you're right in the middle of that. What are your thoughts about creating a fourth pillar of entrepreneurism?
I'm excited about it because entrepreneurs give positive energy to other entrepreneurs. We feed off each other. I've seen more young entrepreneurs in the last few years in the news and in Norfolk than ever before. From the Connor Brewing to Interactive Grow.
Yeah. And
these type of young guns are making entrepreneurship exciting.
Yeah, and good point. I mean, when people talk about entrepreneurism, they're not necessarily talking about technology companies, or it's any particular market that's out there, right? And your business is a real perfect example. So, well, let's talk about any other organizations that you're part of, or any significant awards, company or personal. Do they give out awards in this industry, or is your award just your business success?
I would like to talk about awards because they have actually helped us more than we realized. The entrepreneur organization was very instrumental in this. They highly recommended that I apply for different awards to show any success that our company had.
Great idea.
And initially I thought, well, why advertise our business? We want to keep things confidential. But they basically said, your competitors, they will know of you. So go ahead and apply, and you'll see the positive feedback. And what we found out was that those awards that we did win gave third-party confirmation to many banks out there who, after the downturn, came back to us and said, we want to do business with this guy who's been around for a while and has had that third-party confirmation. It's also helped us with recruiting top talent who have seen our company in the news and now have said they know of us. Some distinctive awards, including 5,000, Inside Business Magazine's Entrepreneur Excellence Award, and also UVA Darden School of Business has the Taylor Murphy Entrepreneur Resilience Awards. And we also had the Norfolk Crime Prevention nomination.
Oh, okay. I'd heard of many of the ones that you mentioned. I hadn't heard about that one.
Yeah. So we're very proud of our awards. Our employees get a moral boost.
Yeah.
And the banks love it.
Right. Well, we're going to talk about employees and workforce development in a little bit, but a couple other questions before that. So, business training, lessons that you've learned along the way. What can you tell us there? You've told us a little bit about it already, but if you could expand a bit.
Business training. Okay. Well, we take training in-house very seriously. I know I keep repeating myself with EO. But between EO is very similar to executive training at the top business schools.
Yeah.
I was fortunate enough, one of the awards at Taylor Murphy, the prize was to go to UVA's Darden School for 1 week of executive training. And I've also participated in other ones in the past, and they do teach you the best business practices. And they do it in a peer sharing format with case study design, where you actually go through real corporate scenarios and help you design growth and planning and marketing and strategy and hiring, everything you need to know about the business. So this continuous learning is what I like to use, and I bring back every quarter to the troops and give them that knowledge and help us improve our practices. I think every 3 months, or between every 3 to 6 months, we actually look at all our procedures. And ask ourselves where we can improve. And we call that process mapping.
Great.
If it takes a dozen steps to get a document signed by maybe for a parental guarantee, and that takes too long. What we look at what can we do to make it sooner? So we look at technology as the first place we look, and we find applications out there that can shorten those 12 steps to 1 or 2, and that can reduce the burden on our workforce.
That's huge.
It's very huge.
Well, and you put efficiency in the operation, you put efficiency in your business, and that translates right to the bottom line too.
Absolutely, and customer service is a huge thing we train. Customers, you got to take care of the customer.
Well, yeah. So let's talk about that for a while. I'm a veteran of the customer service business for too many years, and so people are they have high expectations. I mean, so how do you train your organization on taking care of the customer?
Well, it's not easy. You have to map the customer experience. Call it customer mapping. Students are no different than any other customer group. Each year, their expectations are growing. Most of them grew up in the McMansion era, so they're used to these newer amenities that their parents had. So we have to keep ourselves ingrained with surveys and communications with them to see what are those amenities that they want. And sometimes you find out that it's not the amenities that you think.
Interesting.
They want internet over laundry. But the bottom line is we have to communicate often with them. We do have to customer map that experience from the day we show them, from the minute they see our website. And it's not easy to do that. You have to do that in the field.
Sure, but you listen to the voice of the customer. You ask for their opinion, and how you can better serve that.
Absolutely.
On that basis. Well, that's fantastic. So we've talked about employees a bit. I think you said you had 15, 20 employees in that range. And so let's. There's probably some other things I'm going to come around. I apologize for jumping around a little bit, but let's talk about. Workforce challenges and observations. How do you attract people? How do you retain people? What are you seeing in the people that you interview for your valuable positions?
That is a constant challenge. We have changed our process in recruiting. We do advertise quite a bit online in many different employee message boards. There isn't 1 or 2 or 3 I can point out. We use them all. And we get it from different sources. ODU has a career connection as well, which has been helpful, especially for a lot of the part-time or temp help. We like to get students who are hungry and want to get some experience. But we've changed our process where we interview a little more often, deeper, and we use all types of assessments. We use a personality assessment such as the DISC test or the Myers-Briggs. We also use another assessment that deals with integrity and responsibility. And there's also a critical thinking piece. And it depends on what the position is, how high in management it is. But we find that if we spend a little more time up front, that we're going to get less turnover. And we'll get more competent employees, and that just helps in the organization. We don't want to spend all our time hiring. And
cost of retraining is pretty big.
That's true. The time it takes to train does deviate from. We like to continuously train because of our improving processes, but that's true. So
when you talk about employees or job seekers, let's use the term job seekers. What kind of recommendations would you make for individuals that are looking for a job, whether it's at your company or any of your EO colleague companies? Just what are you seeing in terms of their skill sets coming out of the university system or what have you, and their employability?
Well, we see all types, and what we do see is that usually they're applying for positions that is not their major. But for us, it doesn't matter. We're looking for someone who's competent, who's hungry, who's ready to roll up their sleeves. We've had engineers, lawyers, MBAs. We're looking for the people that are quick learners and are competent, and we can train them. So we don't really mind what their background is, as long as they have that willingness to learn. my recommendations for them is to be a lifelong learner. After the bachelor degree, we've had many of our assistants are in grad school right now, and we push that, we encourage that.
That's a great point. One of your EO colleagues and I, along with a couple other people, were on a business mentoring or student mentoring panel for civic leadership, civic scholars, so 15 ODU, mostly juniors, some seniors, and the conversation was about whether or not you necessarily are going to find a job that your educational background is 100% aligned to, and the answer was no. I mean, people, young kids in school change majors, and at the end of the day, just as you pointed out, you could have a lawyer that's coming to you. So it really doesn't matter, does it, to you?
It doesn't to us. Most of our business is related around management, administrative type thing, project or property management. There are other businesses out there, of course, who have specialties in engineering or medicine where you have to specialize. Actually, ODU recently announced this new entrepreneurial center, which they are going to go college-wide. So the art student or the nurse or any major will get that experience of that business experience with entrepreneur experience. So it opened more doors for everyone.
And that was a very, very generous donation from the Strom Foundation, I believe.
Correct.
And so once again, just an outstanding effort, both there and ODU and entrepreneurism for the region. So it's just wonderful stuff. So have you ever looked at doing business outside of Hampton Roads, or is this home turf for you?
Well, because of the nature of the business, real estate, you can only manage, in such a certain footprint. We have thought about tackling this same brand and the same professional management at other universities, but it would truly stretch us thin. What we've been looking at is some other scalable business ideas, such as providing maybe some type of wireless service to the students in this area, and then beta test it here where we could take it to other universities. We've also thought about taking our software and our applications and designing one that other landlords could use across the nation.
Oh, fascinating.
So we're looking at taking our expertise and doing something that's a little more scalable.
Okay, packaging it for reselling purposes potentially.
Correct.
So diversification of your business.
Correct.
Well, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. So we're in the closing moments here. We're almost at 30 minutes. We try to use that as a guideline. What other topics have we not touched upon that you would like to bring? Well, let's talk about culture, your philosophy about business, and how you treat your employees, etc. Why don't you speak to us about that if you could?
Culture is very important. You have to create an environment where the employees believe in your vision and your product. And if they do, they will jump out in front of a bus for you. And that's how I measure my success. If I didn't have employees that thought that way, we would be inundated with the workload because they wouldn't be as passionate about it. I stay very involved in the business, and I stay very involved in the training, and I daily or weekly I share the upcoming vision every quarter with the employees and why we're growing, and the decisions can be the training can be from small decisions to large ones, and I always tell them do the right thing.
Right.
So as we grow and we decide to handle tenant issues or applications or how to market to the next generation, we tell them what's the right thing to do. How do we create a customer-focused, customer-centric business model? And when they see that we're trying to do good things for the customer, they buy in that we're here to help. And culture, I've heard someone quote this: culture trumps strategy. Because if you don't have your troops behind you, it doesn't matter what your strategy is.
You're absolutely right. So another thing, you mentioned next gen, and so that you're aware that in our role in Future of Hampton Roads, and folks, Thanos is a board member of that organization as well, so very active in the community. One of our study areas is enabling next gen. So what are you seeing from the next generation? They're basically the youth of today, college kids coming into school and then into the job market. Have you noticed any changes over the past 10 years? Because you've been in business about 13 years now with ODU Rent. Any changes that you've noticed?
The older I get, the harder it is to understand the young ones.
I shouldn't understand anybody at this point.
But and most of our employees are near that age group.
Yeah.
So they give me a lot of feedback, and we do read a lot of journals in this area to understand the customer. And what we're finding is they have changed, and they are part of a new generation that wants to be part of something bigger. They want to be productive. They look at the 90s and the excess of that period as ridiculous. They are more of a independent group, but they also they want to be part of a. You'll see this through the social circles they've created. They also want to be part of trends that are doing the right thing. And that's why you see a lot of these young people embracing that green culture and taking care of the planet, and it makes me feel better about everything because they understand.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Let's talk a little bit about hands-on management. So there's a acronym WAM, W-A-M, walk around management. So I would imagine you're a pretty hands-on guy, and I don't mean that in a negative sense, not micromanagement, but walking the walk, not just talking the talk, walking the walk. How often are you in your properties? You got 75 of them, so it's going to take a while, but do you tour your properties on a regular basis?
I do. Well, in fact, twice a year we have a spring and fall inspection where we walk through 165 doors and we check smoke alarms and other safety issues, and just make sure things are running smooth.
That's nice.
And it's very important for me to, as well as my staff, to know what the state of the product is.
Yeah.
We also turn the units during the summer, and the turnover rate is over 50% because students are graduating, transferring, etc. So we see most of the properties in the summer as well. So we get to see them 3 times in several months.
That's very good.
And that keeps us very hands-on. And we rotate our staff through all those inspections, so everybody really. The showings, when we show properties, a lot of our young staff who can communicate with our customers and talk to them about the features and know what they want. They show the properties. Now, I'm the type manager where I don't expect any of my staff to do anything that I will not do or haven't done. Excellent. So I will go in the showings with them and help train. I've crawled under buildings with my maintenance. I've done a little everything, and it's you've got to be a leader and show them that.
Well said. Well said. How important is it? I think I know the answer. So it's a leading question, but I want our listeners to hear it from you. Having that relationship, that working relationship with the city of Norfolk, with the university, whatever. How do you prioritize that? How do you maintain that? And how's it working out for you?
It's my goal is to do things that would complement the area. We want to be a good steward of the community. We communicate with the Highland Park Civic League, of which Dale Ryder is the president, and also the Lamberts Point Civic League. And we let them know everything we're doing, all the positives we're doing, all the challenges we're having, and how we want to solve them. And we ask them for feedback. We communicate with the local police on a continuous basis.
Great.
When we took over the knitting mill property, which was the largest one, the previous managers had quite a few issues. We met with the local neighbors, the local business owners, as well as the community, and told them, we know that this is our home here, and we told them all the things that we wanted to do, and asked them if they had any suggestions as well. That is very important. We also communicate with the attorney's office and any other parts of the city of Norfolk, the tree division, the streets. We'll drive around, and if we see lights out they're not even on our properties, we'll call them in.
That's great.
We're looking at improving the whole perimeter and all the neighborhoods around ODU, because it's just better for the whole city.
So, you're a business, but you're woven into the fabric of the community, and that's outstanding. So we are out of time. Thanos, any closing remarks?
I would just say, well, thank you for having me today.
Oh, thank you.
You've re-energized me by helping me remember that all the things that I've done as an entrepreneur. So I'm going to take this positive energy and continue the good things that our company's doing. And I hope this has inspired other young entrepreneurs to grab the bull by the horns.
Absolutely.
And create their own destiny and their own job.
Well said, well said. Well, keep doing what you're doing. ODU Rent is a very successful business in the area. That's an outstanding thing. Keep doing what you're doing with the Entrepreneurs Organization, and thank you very much for contributing to entrepreneurism in Hampton Roads. And with that, this is Dan Bell signing off. Thank you to Thanos Polizos, owner and founder of ODU Rent.